Everyday life can bring a little chaos and messiness into our homes from time to time. That's normal. The concern is when it stops being messy and starts becoming chronic disorganization or hoarding, raising the risk of falls, fires, and other hazards, and sometimes making a home unsafe. Sam, how do you know the line has been crossed, and what is the safest way to step in?
One of the best ways to know is when you could smell the home before you get there.
Aww.
And I have seen that. So it's when it becomes a safety hazard to that person and to anyone coming in. And unfortunately, this isn't just something that you can fix. This isn't something that family can step in and take away. It is a psychological disorder when it comes to the hoarding side. You know, if it's a new behavior, then there's an executive function issue. Then we might be dealing with a cognitive impairment or a cognitive decline if this is a new something that's onset in a late age. But a hoarding behavior starts very early, and because it is a psychological dysfunction. So that's something that the family's already aware of. It didn't happen yesterday.
Right, and don't you know the people that come in and they do that grand sweep of the big cleanup, and those of us on the outside know it's not going to work.
Yeah.
The grand cleanup does not work.
It's a relapse.
Yeah, it's a right. They're going to do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
But what do you think? You can probably have a coexistence, so it can be made worse. So now this person who has those hoarding tendencies now has some cognitive decline.
Yes.
So now they got a cumulative problem here.
Absolutely.
So it can be worse in the aging population. So there's actually 5 levels that are used with fire departments, industry experts, hoarding task force, and actually chronic disorganization is a good word. People that just, are disorganized throughout their life, and maybe it's just a chronic disorganization issue. And that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is safety on the opposite end. So level 1 is maybe there's some clutter, maybe it's a little messy from time to time, but everything is functional, everything is safe. Level 2 is when things are starting to slip. Now pathways are starting to narrow. There might be rooms where we just close the door, nobody goes in there. Some rooms are unusable. By 3, it's getting worse. Can you use the kitchen sink? Can you use the kitchen, the refrigerator, the bathtub, the toilets? Things are really getting worse. 4 and 5 is where the concerns are on safety. On 4, you're starting to say these are dangerous living conditions. And on 5, it is life-threatening. That's when people are coming in with Tyvek suits the day of the actual cleanup and PPP, personal protection equipment. And so on level 4 and 5, that is really a serious issue where it takes professional help, but it might not be something that you're doing to just clean up the house, because usually it restarts again.
Let me throw out one solution that does occasionally work, because they could be depressed, is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes.
And going in slow and having some talk therapy. So if you have someone out there that's a clutterer, maybe not the true hoarder, go ahead and try that, because that could be a viable solution.